I think the first thing you do is you identify your fear. What is holding you back? I don't like stagnation, and that was even from a young age. I enjoyed going into situations where I've never been before and just try and adapt to it. That perfect life doesn't exist. We are all here. We're doing our best. We're working together to creating these results, but have that empathy and that sympathy towards yourself. Let yourself be down a bit. Have that cry. Yes. Have that block in your calendar 30 minutes out for yourself.
Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is Sune.
I'm Cleo.
And this is The Aesthetic Perspective. Guys, today we are so excited to have a beautiful guest with us. She's the CEO and owner of the growing Dermology Group. She's highly experienced, specializing in laser and light with over 16 years experience within the industry. Today, her clinics and teams are found throughout South Africa. She thrives in the world of business growth and leadership. She is a proud ISA alumni, multi-award winning clinic manager, speaker, trainer on a national and international platforms, mom of two, wife of one, our absolute Instagram phenomenon, if I can call it that. She is our safari wife, and she is the amazing Lourette du Toit. Lourette, welcome to today's session.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here today. What an honor.
We are so excited to have you on board. I think both Cleo and I, we mentioned when you got here, we were both so excited to have you and to obviously have this discussion.
The questions have already started. Okay. Even before, literally before this recording started, we've been starting with questions. I think we're all so passionate in this industry. So I'm personally very excited. I have a few questions lined up, definitely. I think that this session will definitely bring some value to what we're trying to achieve in the podcast as well with this podcast. So without further ado, I think we can really jump straight into it. Lourette, I want to know a little bit about your story. I only learned recently that you are also a safari wife. So please include that into your story. How did you get to where you are today? Let's just jump straight into it.
It's a long journey, but I started in Stellenbosch, and where I started at ISA, and then I went onto the cruise ships for a year, and that was quite fun. I think for a farm girl, Afrikaans, barely speaking English, going on her own at the age of 20 to the areas like the Caribbean islands, getting onto a cruise ship.
It really opens your world.
Your world. Such a culture shock. But I'm so grateful I did that. It was my first step in thinking about the bigger picture. And then I came back to South Africa and I joined Singita. It's a private game reserve. Back then, I joined them in the Kruger National Park at Lebombo and Sweeney.
Also, again, a beautiful experience. You've had the experience with international cultures, etc., and that gave you a bit more insight, I would say.
Insight and confidence,
of course,
dealing with different cultures and just speaking to people with different languages as well. And there at Singita, we were also exposed to a lot of VIP personalities visiting South Africa. So it was incredible to see how people see South Africa and they actually come to our country because it's so beautiful, because it's so diverse.
Yes.
And so I really, there, my time at Singita, I fell in love with the bush. I was
never
a bush girl.
Okay, I was just about to ask, have you always had that love? How did you end up there? How did you choose that?
When I love change.
Okay.
And I'm very good with adapting in new areas.
That's an amazing trait.
Teach me your way. Please.
I don't like stagnation, and that was even from a young age. I enjoyed going into situations where I've never been before and just try and adapt to it. And then when I got to the bush, I just fell in love with it. We were always going to places like Hermanus or Harties for...
like a beachy vibe.
Yes. And and then, of course, while I was at Singita, I met a game ranger.
Ooh.
And then I got a serious case of khaki fever. And that's where then we got engaged in the Kalahari, actually.
Wow.
And then we moved to Joburg to pursue bigger adventures in our careers. My husband started a travel business. He is a wildlife photographer.
Oh, that's amazing.
And he takes people on expeditions all the time. Currently in India, exploring the bush en route for or on search for tigers.
What a beautiful life.
Yeah.
That is insane.
So that's where my love for safari started. But then, we moved back to Joburg. First time for me living in the city. So I went from the winelands to the ocean or on board to the bush and to the city.
Okay. And how was that transition for you?
I loved it. I think it is so beneficial to have that as part of my journey, to be able to adapt to future circumstances and future adventures that comes across our paths, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I think also because you've widened your world also, because I find me obviously living in the city all my life, sometimes I feel that it kind of compacts you in a way. And I think as soon as you step outside of that, your world just opens up and the city becomes something of opportunity rather than something that holds you in a box.
Yeah.
That's great. So where you are now, you would say, and like we said, now we really want to equip our girls or the stomatologists in the industry as well to be better stomatologists. And one of the things we discussed on our first episode was what you can go into in this industry, one of it being a business owner. So would you mind unpacking a little bit about being a business owner right now, what you've learned, maybe some of the things that you've learned, what led you to doing this, and maybe a bit more of your dermology journey actually.
So when I was in ISA, I knew in my third year, I had to draw up my first business plan. That's when my first fire got lit. And I was like, this is what I need to do. I need to build a business. But I wasn't sure about the industry. I wasn't sure if I wanted to be in the spa industry forever. And back in the day, the 4th year dermal esthetician course wasn't available to us yet.
Wow.
So we had our 3 years. 3rd year was optional. So I did that. Advanced spa therapies and business management. That's the year I had to draw up a business plan. So I was stuck, like, this is what I have to do. And, on board. And then when I was in the bush, I was in a management role as well. So I was included in target meetings, strategy meetings, business meetings, growth meetings, leadership meetings.
So really big learning curve from that, like the back end.
Again, my fire just got ignited. And I knew, like, all right, Lourette, you know what you need to do. I first learned I want to create a business and grow it. Then I want to have people in that business and grow those people. And so that I knew, but I wasn't sure yet about the industry. So when we moved into Johannesburg, I started sending out my CV. Being a stomatologist, I wasn't convinced that I want to be in the spa industry. So what would be the next step for me in my position is to go into aesthetics clinic. Plus, for me, it's all about creating that difference in people's lives and confidence. And in the aesthetics industry, we have all those tools to do a lot in that category. And when I started sending out my CV to various aesthetic clinics, I said, well, then I'm going to have to go work in an aesthetic clinic or with a plastic surgeon or something. And that's going to be the industry where I'm going to ignite the business and human growth that I want. And of course, hurdles after hurdles. I think also, this is a good 13, 14 years ago. Back in the day, as a stomatologist, you can't just walk into an aesthetic clinic.
Absolutely.
No. It wasn't heard of. People don't want you because you don't have experience. Yes. And the problem with that was, how do you get experience if nobody wants to give you that experience?
Absolutely. We actually had this conversation.
And I actually still have an email from a well-known professional in our industry. They are absolutely incredible, but they were the ones who said to me, sorry, we're not even going to see you for an interview. You don't have any experience.
Goodness.
And
it almost crushes your spirit. Like,
I think
this
as
is
a
my
young-
journey and I can't get there.
as a young, aspiring somebody who has that
Yes.
growth and that dedication and the want to do something,
Yes.
it can be soul crushing. Completely soul crushing. But eventually I did find a place who just opened their doors, and I then fell in love with that place. Remember, all I needed was that industry
yes,
and
just
that
the opportunity
to get stuck in. And the biggest thing there for me was my husband and I were very aligned with that in terms of identifying your goals, what you want to do with it, and what you need to do it.
That's
Because
beautiful.
procrastination is the killer of dreams.
Yes.
And you can sit here and think, I want to create a podcast channel,
Yes.
or I want to launch another branch, or I want to create another department in my business, but tomorrow.
Yes.
tomorrow.
I want to hang out here a little bit because I was saying to Sine, like, personally, and I'll be a little bit vulnerable, but personally, I've always got these dreams, always these things that I want to follow through on. I always know where I want to go, and I think there's a lot of girls maybe in this industry, in maybe in any industry, that they have these goals, they have these things, they see the vision, but executing it is a little bit difficult. It's more challenging actually following through. So what would your advice be to someone, even in this industry, to actually get it done, to actually follow through? Would you say, I know one of the biggest tips is make it a 15-minute thing a day where you're just reaching goals, or set the goals daily, make your monthly goals your daily goals, make your yearly goals your monthly goals. What would you say, just following through in this industry, especially a difficult industry like this, where it can be a bit challenging? What would your advice be?
I think the first thing you do is you identify your fear. What is holding you back?
I love that.
What is the thing that's making you not take that next step? Well, I think the biggest one for us all is time.
Yes.
So time, if you ask someone, why haven't you done? Oh, the time, I just don't have time. And that's a answer for many things, not just reaching business goals or personal goals. It's meeting up friends or calling that your parents back home. Maybe you're not close by. It's all time. So what I think how to overcome that fear, if we talk about time, is to identify your time in your calendar. I am absolutely calendar obsessed.
I think we all are, actually.
You and me.
Listen, if it's not in my calendar, it's not happening.
It's not going to happen, yes.
So like writing it down, that's a very important part of actually setting goals.
Absolutely.
Writing it down, because when you've written it down, it's happening.
It's out there. It's in the universe.
Yeah, it's set in stone. So if you know 9 o'clock is here, you know I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be dedicating my time, my energy, and my consistency in that hour to that topic that I've put down in my calendar. And the next hour, it's something different. Maybe it's your workout because you're dedicating to a healthy lifestyle. And your next hour is something else. So I think, getting over that hurdle is first identifying what is holding you back. What is the fear? And maybe it's confidence. Maybe it's thinking it has to be perfect. Like my podcast took forever because I was thinking it has to be perfect.
It just sounds so familiar.
But then I think it's a very good idea just to identify it first, and then taking that next step from there.
Action.
What would you say was one of the or one of your key fears that you had to overcome, obviously prior to starting your entrepreneurial journey?
I think fear-wise, I got stuck in the idea and lost in the idea of completely living, eating, and breathing this brand, even though I was still an employee. I was one of those who would be there to open a clinic and to close the clinic at night.
Your dedication was not the problem.
It was not the problem. And I think that's also where I learned that you need to have boundaries. You cannot, and I think it's also dangerous for a young person if you are not in a healthy environment to dedicate to that level, but to wake up 5 years later and there's nothing in it for you, or you're not getting anything back. so that's a very big thing that I've learned. But I do think that getting to your work, whichever position you are in, and focusing, putting your head down and not listening to negativity or listening or surrounding yourself in an environment that doesn't align with your goals is very dangerous. So if you have your goals aligned and you think of what it is that you want to reach in 5 years or 10 years time, what figures you want to create in your business, what kind of growth you want for the humans in your business, who are you surrounding yourself with in your personal life? If you are surrounding yourself with humans who are not aligned with your goals and your vision, then it's going to be, you're not going to get out of it that you want.
Absolutely.
And it's just important to always ensure that you align with that.
We spoke on the first episode, so this is actually like a really nice part 3. We spoke about how to set boundaries, or we spoke a little bit about it in the workplace. Exactly everything that you just said was really, really valuable. How would you say is the easiest way for the girls in this industry to set healthy boundaries? Sune advised in the first session that you must remember that you can be a human and be in this industry as well. And the pressure that we feel to grow sometimes is magnificent. And that's why you give so much of yourself to a clinic, to an aesthetic clinic, because you know where you want to go. But then you end up not leaving anything for yourself. You don't fill your own cup. So what would you say is the key factors that you learned when setting boundaries in this industry?
It's important to, again, take that step back and identify what it is that you want to do. I think in today's environments it's more healthier than what it was back maybe 10 years ago. We are all now recognized as humans, and we are more empathetic to each other. And a healthy and a growing mindset in a business is what we all are after. And as a business owner, I would absolutely, it's my worst fear to have an unhappy human in my team.
See, this is the business owners we were speaking about on episode 1, because we were saying that you can be so happy in a clinic with the right business owner, with the right manager. What you said, Nana, was you actually care for the people who work for you, and you want them to grow as well. And that is so valuable. That is, we need more people like you in this industry, obviously.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so when you're in a business and you have your team, it's as clear as day. Happy team, happy business. So why would I not focus on my team? They are number one. And my business would not be anywhere where it is today if it wasn't for them. I have key individuals that has actually gone out to various locations after working in Dermology in Sandton for a number of years, expressed the want and the need and the dedication and the hunger for growth. It's like, well, you are perfect. Dermology,
you are ready for the next one.
And her dreams became alive then. And, we have a few of those success stories, and I would like to continue those things. Everybody in the team showing that dedication and loyalty. That comes back to we were talking about when I was still employee in my previous position in Sandton. I was a number of years in as employee and totally dedicated to this brand, fell in love obviously with everything else associated with it, and wanted that next step. So I want to grow and I want to take that next step, but you are kind of limited, right? So with visions and things like that has to be aligned for other people to grow in the business. Eventually, I then became the owner of the clinic, and that is when my world just exploded. Everything opened up in terms of right now I can finally do what I want to do, business growth. What's my first step? I want to open another clinic. So I wanted to open that second branch. I've always wanted to do it. I knew it when in my 3rd year at Isaac Carson's, I want a business plan and I want to grow a business. So I went onto this journey to Cape Town to go find a place. And it was so daunting. But this is where my next big fear or complication happened, where I found a place and we started negotiating, and it was just so exciting and we were so aligned and it just made sense. And then on the number 99, it fell through. So Dermology 2 then was not going to happen. I was already far, planning campaigns. And
Yes.
But so then it didn't happen. I remember I was sitting in my car receiving the email, and it was just like a punch in my stomach.
Yes.
But literally like 2 weeks later, I walked into I've kept on flying to Cape Town and go and walk and literally go to the various clinics, introducing myself, like, this is who I am.
Yes.
People were like,
girl,
we don't know you. But I'm just like literally doing presentations to them, trying like, this is who I am. I'm literally an open book. I want to collaborate. I'm not here to take away. I want to add.
Yes.
And so then we got this opportunity in Valdevie Estate and with Revita Health and Dr. Ladivia Strauss.
Wow.
And that's where Dermology 2 was then finally born. And my next obsession started, where I couldn't stop. And
you just wanted more.
That is absolutely amazing. As a business owner, I think a lot of girls or a lot of the somatologists really feel like they want to do this. Would you mind sharing a little bit, just what are some of the highs and the lows that you've experienced of being a business owner? It looks very glamorous always. What would be your highest highs, and what is things that people don't often think about that can be classified as lows?
Yeah, that's a very valuable question. The thing people don't see, and usually they see this on Instagram, TikTok, and everywhere else, but what they don't see is the time that goes into the results. And to keep up with those results, the consistency. We are still humans at the end of the day. Yeah. I always say to people when they want perfect skin, I say, remember, it's your biggest organ. It's going to have tantrums. It's going to have a tantrum once a month. It's going to be upset when we go from summer to winter. You're going to see these changes. It's the same with us. We go through our own seasons in life. Sometimes you're low, sometimes you're high. Sometimes you have a bad day or a bad night. You have to come to work and see 10 patients and put a smile on your face. You don't have a choice. You have to do it. And then you also listen to 10 other people's struggles. Yes. It's a lot to take in. So when you get home, now maybe you have a husband, you have children, you have maybe babies, so it's really full on 100% attention, or you have older children, so it's homework and it's the fights that comes with homework. It's a lot, and dinner. Yeah. So I do think that people often forget when they see us online, or they see a human creating things online, that's the perfect life. That's what I want to be. It doesn't exist. That perfect life doesn't exist. We are all here. We're doing our best. We're working together to creating these results. But have that empathy and that sympathy towards yourself. Let yourself be down a bit. Have that cry. Yes. Have that block in your calendar 30 minutes out for yourself. Where
like
you
a debriefing 30 minutes.
Cry. And so for me, throughout the years, my journey changed a lot. So when my husband and I moved to Joburg, it was just me and him. Mm-hmm. And so, but he travels a lot. He travels probably around 200 days a year.
Wow.
And, it's a lot to be alone, but it's the life I know.
Yes.
I don't know it any different.
Yes.
But then our story started to change. So then I became pregnant. He wasn't there for most of the pregnancy. Relay was born, our daughter, and he missed a lot of her firsts. And now it's not just on me being alone and having to go. Her first Christmas, it was just me and her. Aww. And but that was 10 years ago. And thinking back now, yes, it was sad then. I wasn't sad. You're a little bit sad, but I understood the bigger picture, and I
Yes.
understood.
And the goal you're
he's
both
not here
committed
because
to.
he doesn't want to be here.
Yes.
He's here because he's building his career and
Yes.
our journey together.
Yeah.
Same with me. If I come home a little bit later than planned, or if I'm busy putting content together at 9 o'clock at night after the kids have gone to bed, it's with a purpose.
Yes.
It's not because I'm just keeping myself busy. And then he got to and then Jack was born, our second baby, and we actually planned a C-section in the 5 days that he was
That it was
home.
here. Oh. And did it go to plan?
No, I had a placenta abruption actually a few days just before he's supposed to come back from Brazil. And my mom was luckily here, but it's just me and her and Roulay, so a 3-year-old. And I had to literally call someone who we work together, and her husband. My mom's never met her husband, so her husband came to pick my mom up.
Shame.
It was not
The stranger.
And then and Sam, bless her soul, what a beautiful woman. So she used to be a front desk coordinator at Dermology, but also a nurse.
Oh, wow.
But then she was the one who brought me to hospital. She went with me into theater. She was my theater wife. And then she was the one, as they rolled me out of ICU or the operation room, she gave me my phone, and she had Marlon on
video call.
Oh,
shame.
So she just pushed the phone. I was like, hello.
Look
and
who arrived.
He was in Sao Paulo about to board the flight, the long flight back to Joburg.
Okay.
So yeah,
That is amazing.
it's a lot.
It is. I think if you understand,
Yes.
if you understand the cost of why you're doing what you're doing, then it makes a little bit more sense. It's a bit easier to carry.
And it's worth it then at the end of the day. Would you say, obviously, because you guys are both so aligned and goal driven, would you say there are some things that you had to let go that you once wanted in your life, but it wasn't part of this journey? It wasn't going to fulfill your goals. And how did you handle that?
Yeah. So, what is a big thing of us as humans to be happy? It's friends, right?
Yes.
And being especially that first part of our journey where Marlon was never home, always, and it was like safari after safari after safari. And when he comes home, he's so tired. He's home maybe for a few days and then he leaves again. So what happened is we became that when we are not busy with people, we want to be together.
Okay.
You see, so, and then with that resulted in us not going to functions or get-togethers or those kind of
Obviously,
things.
because you had so little time just for yourselves.
Yes. So that's something we then identified as a fear or a weakness later on. And we started to intentionally work on that. And
that's beautiful.
That's something that I always believe in, is to move with intention. Whatever your task is or your goal is or your next move is do it with intention. And I think that ties back up in, overcoming that hurdle and to try and understand what it is that you need to do to reach that next goal of yours.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. I know you obviously mentioned that sometimes late at night you're putting content together. I want to actually touch up a bit on the social media aspect of the industry. And when did you realize it was such a valuable tool, not only for your business, but for the industry as a general? Because I think we all see the value in it now. But I mean, you were on board long before we even saw the value. So how did you almost realize that?
That was not me. That was my husband.
Okay.
When we had Sangeeta, this is now 2009, but I think they started the Safari Brothers on Facebook. So then only Facebook just launched. Around 2006 or something like that. Then they started the Safari Brothers, Marlon and a friend. And so they started doing blogs, daily blogs of what they saw in the wild. And then I was like, okay, maybe I need to do something. And he started Instagram, and his Instagram started growing. So I started my Instagram. So I fed off him. And when I started with Dermology, and I was like, hey, where's your social media pages? And there wasn't. So we created Facebook, we created Instagram, later on TikTok, and then all the other stuff. And just keep on being consistent and showing up and creating that content. So it became like a habit.
Yes.
Do you do everything yourself?
For Dermology Africa and for Lourette, I do that content. And then I have brilliant in-house creative people, and they are all the therapist or the front desk coordinators on each site that contributes to those different pages.
Because I think a lot of the time the business owners, the women who want to have their own businesses, they're like, I don't have the money to invest 10,000 Rand into social media
or something, or someone professional to actually drive that.
So obviously everything is organically grown.
Yes.
And you've done it, and like you just said, it's you doing it by yourself, and it's possible. It obviously takes some planning, but what would you say the biggest tips is when it comes to social media for business owners listening to this?
So the first thing is you have to do it. Don't be scared.
Yes.
You cannot get away from it. And I think also when you look at your business, who is the people that your patient is going to see, or your client or your customer is going to see when they come on site or when they deal with your patient? If they don't know that person, you're not creating that connection. Because often what's happened previously a while ago is what people would come to Dermology, they expect to see me. But there's 5 branches now.
Yes.
So it's different now. And also, it's not just me. In fact, it's all about them. It's all about the teams on site, building their clientele, building their results, and creating their case studies. So I need them to be present online. I need their voices to be heard. I need their personalities to be shown. I think everybody knows Sandra from Santon.
Yes.
She is the face of Dermology. She's claimed that herself. And people come in and they immediately recognize her and they feel comfortable.
I think it's important to have that, almost like you don't feel alone in your journey, or once you get to a space, it's almost like you're so familiar because you've seen them online, you see them present. I think it does build that instant connection with your patient.
It builds that connection, but then also it takes pressure off the business owner to do it all by themselves. And you can't be in 5 places at once. And even if it's one location, you have various departments in your business. So you can't do everything yourself. And you might be doing it, but maybe it can be done better if you do have that little bit of... and what I like to do is I don't force people to do social media. I find the ones who are creative with it and that has that pizzazz already, and then we grow that.
Yes,
because there's no point in forcing someone who's not comfortable with it. So again, if it's a business owner who's not comfortable with it and they don't have that confidence to maybe show up on camera or talking, then find someone in the business that is.
So valuable.
You often have someone there, whoever it is. If that person has the knack for it and they understand the concept and the importance of it, they're going to do it well. And you can even put that person on a course. So now you grow them further. You enable them to empower a skill that they now have, which means you're going to get that loyalty back to you because you've showing that dedication to them.
Yes, so, and that investment in growing them actually.
Maybe we can bring this into perspective. I'm going to ask you a bit more of a targeted question. But for someone who's hesitant, should I do social media for my business? Should I not? Or maybe a clinic owner. How many DMs do you receive? You've built up quite a following. So how many DMs would you receive on a daily basis or weekly basis asking, can I book with you? Just so that we can bring the value of this into perspective. Compared to handing out flyers or compared to going to stand next to a robot trying to call people to your clinic. Why this is the new way of doing things.
I see social media as the word of mouth on steroids, basically.
Absolutely.
Because
your reach is endless.
Yes. And, I often do presentations abroad, and often I speak about social media as well and the power of social media. And there's a doctor there, and up until last year, he's a world famous vascular surgeon, world famous dermatologist, and he was just like, nah, he's got his clients. He believes in word of mouth.
He's happy with him.
He's got word of mouth, and that's the most powerful tool of marketing. And every time when I'm on stage, I'm like, yes, what if those 5 people or the person that you treated today goes to a dinner party tonight, and they speak about you and your services to 5 friends, and maybe 3 of those friends book. Okay, great. Beautiful word of mouth. What if, and even if she has 200 followers on Instagram, she says something about that on Instagram to 200 people. Now you get 10 people who books.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now it's different.
Nice.
So it's still, you get the old school people who would still say, no, word of mouth is the powerful. Yes, I agree. But social media is a new way of word of mouth. So what is this? It's change. Change equals growth, always.
Absolutely.
So I always say to them, you have to now adapt to this new thing. It's a new way of doing things. Like when we get the iPhone 16 Pro Max, it's the new iPhone Pro way or 3310. Okay? We need to stay up with the timelines and how things change. And unfortunately, if you don't like change, sorry, but suck it up. You're going to have to start learning to like change.
Yes.
Because change comes with growth.
I actually had a very interesting conversation last night, and we were speaking about the actual value of the industry because it's so ever changing, and I think it keeps us on our toes. Like we can't ever settle or get comfortable because then we'll miss something.
Yes.
And I think it's so exciting that from a technology point of view, our equipment, our products, everything together, I don't know, it's just like it forces you to grow every single day, and I love that.
Yes. So to come back to your question about how many DMs,
I was just going to say, guys, can you answer my question, please?
Circle back. But I think it's just so much more than DMs. It is the comment, it is the DM, it is the WhatsApp you get maybe from the prompt that you have built into your post. It is the WhatsApp organically created by just leaving your contact details. It's the emails that you get. It's also your TikTok inbox. It's also your Facebook inbox. Or Messenger. There's just so many channels.
Your reach is so big.
Your patient can now reach you on, and we all know they don't want to go look for you. They want to click.
Yes.
Even if it can now magically appear, hopefully AI will do that for us. But
just go straight to the calendar.
Yes,
done.
I wish I could book. But, hopefully that will be next month. But it's the easier you make it for your patient to book, and people don't want to phone anymore. Our new generations, they don't want to pick up the phone anymore.
Social anxiety is
oh
a thing.
my way.
And I don't understand it. No. I think it's so much quicker. If I just give you a call, I'm getting my answer immediately.
Exactly. And that's often where clinics get blocked, and they don't understand it because the booking process is too difficult. Not getting hold of the person. There goes your.
That's it. You can't make it difficult.
100%. Those systems needs to be so user-friendly, because that is literally what the world is now. The more user-friendly, I mean, like I've tried to book with places, not in the industry specifically, but if the booking process is difficult, it automatically gives me that first impression.
Yes.
Okay, maybe the rest of their services won't be good. And your first door really is social media. I mean, like you just said, if you have one person walking into your clinic, great. But if you've got 1,000 people looking at your clinic every day, like your followers, for instance, 1,000 followers might not seem like much, but if there's 1,000 people walking into your clinic,
absolutely,
you're going to try your absolute best to get them to commit to having these treatments with you or buying from you. On that note, a lot of things that I hear in the industry is online stores is taking my business, especially when it comes to retail. Online stores is a problem. Online stores is taking my business. And I disagree with that strongly, because I feel like if you have that relationship with that client,
Absolutely.
they will come back to you anyway.
They will
come
continue
book with
support you.
They're going to continue to support. So how can we use online stores to actually build the business, to actually help the industry, to actually help you grow as an individual, compared to seeing it more as a threat? E-commerce is obviously big now.
It's massive. Again, people don't want to struggle.
Yes.
They want to have it as easy as possible.
And as convenient.
And it all comes back to time. It all comes back to that. So maybe somebody doesn't have the time to quickly stop by a place. I think if you have a business and you're selling retail, you should have e-commerce. You're missing out.
Yes.
Because you have such a wide reach that you are not reaching. I mean, you can be sitting here in Joburg, but people in Cape Town can be buying your products because you have a good sale, or you have a easy and quick way to check out.
Yes.
Or your service is quick. They'd rather buy from you here in Joburg than walking down the street to a clinic who never has stock.
Yes.
So
I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, there's just so many plus points. Again, it's change. It's all about that
evolving.
change. We have to adapt. We have to bite the bullet.
Yes.
And just sit and create. I think most of us created our online stores in COVID. When COVID hit, I was never typing so fast in my life. Bold WordPress, WooCommerce. Oh my goodness. But no, it's such a valuable tool. And I do believe that if you have some sort of product or retail that you can sell, you're missing out if you don't have WooCommerce, or at least have a catalog that you can
available.
Sell online.
Lourette, I actually want to give you a compliment. I love the way you obviously invest in your people and the people that work with you. From a business perspective, how did you manage to overcome, giving tasks? Because I find very often, I find that I want to control everything in my daily basis or in my daily life, and I don't trust someone to complete the task as nicely as I would complete it. So how did you overcome that, and how did you get to the point where you find trust in the people obviously that work with you?
Delegating is the right word.
That's it.
Yeah, so delegating is very difficult for certain personality types, I think. Let's start there. We're all different people.
Yes.
And if you are someone and it's just your personality, it's how you are, if I'm not going to do it, it's not going to be done right. And that's often, and that's not, there's nothing wrong with it. But at some point, you need to know that you have a capacity.
Yes, it's very self-limiting.
Limiting and boundaries, again, to keep you from sitting at 9 o'clock at night, dedicating your time to something you shouldn't be dedicating at the moment, or you missing out on other time maybe. So how I did it was, in the beginning, it was very difficult. Social media, for instance, is my baby.
Okay, you love that.
I love it. I am a sucker for social media, anything online, speaking about the product, essentially. So whichever channel we are talking about, but speaking about the brand and the product is my absolute passion. So when we started branching out, I quickly realized, I can't be everywhere. So then all of a sudden I realized I can't speak the same language to a Santon patient than what I do to a Belito patient or to a patient in Paarl. They don't speak the same languages. And I'm talking about, expectations, the pace of doing things, the amount of downtime that they are happy to go through. So there's a lot of different things. So that then said to me, okay, we have to have the different social media pages for each location, right? But then I can't manage all those pages. So I had to then give that delegate that task to the relevant people on site. And again, so by overcoming that fear of it not being done how you want to do it, first you find the person who's also as passionate as you. They understand it's not just a job that they get paid for, but they are going to dedicate the time because they are aligned with the vision and growth that goes with it. And it's difficult, but we always say hire slow, fire fast.
Yes.
So to get that right people with you, whenever I look for someone joining our team, we take our time.
Yeah.
We look for the right person. Never mind the skill that we can perfect while you're here. You have the qualifications, but it's about, are you the person that's going to align with us in our growth and our journey and all the goals and visions that we have together, not me, but the team, what we have together, where we want to go. And once you have those valuable people, delegation becomes easier. And
because you have that automatic trust, I would
Yes.
assume, because obviously goals are aligned, personalities are aligned, the excitement is aligned, so it makes it easier.
And the moment, it's also about that reward.
Yes.
I love seeing someone thrive.
Okay. I love that.
I love seeing if you've given someone a task and they've completed it and we
excited.
celebrate it.
Yes.
There's things at Dermology called Fatty Fridays. We have pizza. We don't care. It's celebrating wins is a very big thing. I remember back in the day when I would win an award, or if something happens, it's me saying on Instagram, "Hey, I won this award."
Instead of someone else coming to say, "Yay, you won the award."
So now when somebody gets an award, it's important for me, and I make it a priority for me to celebrate their wins and their things, because I know what it means for them.
Yes.
I know what it means for anybody being celebrated authentically, and not just from a fake reason or fake point of view, but you want to celebrate the people around you. And I think that's all in coming into building that trust.
How do you identify? So how do you identify that person? How do you identify, okay, she's going to be a good fit for my clinic?
It's difficult to just
do you
tick boxes.
Do you go on a feeling?
So
do you really have that?
There's a big interview process. So first, obviously gathering CVs, and based on the qualifications that we need for them to be able to complete the task, they get selected for that first interview. And when they come through, it's the first interview, but this is very important for me, especially in today's age, is that when somebody approaches you, they want to come work for you. It's a big thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not like back in the day sending your CV out to 10 different employers. I want to know that if somebody applies for a position at Dermology, that they know about Dermology, that they've researched Dermology, and that they want to come work with us because they align with the message that we send out there. I don't want somebody just to send, I'm one of 10 emails that they send out there, which often happens.
Yes.
But they need to be able to send their CV to us because they align and they want to work with us. So I had a conversation with someone once, best-selling author of a book, okay? And he said that if he has someone wanting his advice because they heard now somewhere or they saw somewhere this guy knows about entrepreneurship, and now they meet for coffee, but that person wanting to know anything about entrepreneurship doesn't know anything about the author. So he didn't go and research about this person. He didn't even read his book.
Now he wants advice.
But he wants advice. So that's so valuable.
Yeah.
You cannot reach out to someone, but you don't know anything about it. There was a conversation the other day also of influencers reaching out to brands, wanting to partner, wanting products to promote, but they don't even follow that page.
Yes.
Sure.
So, that's why in an interview process, this is one of the key things that I look out for. What do you know about Dermology?
Yeah.
But I'm very casual. I always just say, all right, welcome, so excited. So have you seen us online? What do you think about Dermology? And then they can start telling me, oh, I love this lasers, and they call the lasers, or they say, I love that, what you did there. And, afterwards, obviously we can see, are they even following us, or have they been engaging? Then this person really is authentic in that manner. And they have done due diligence. They haven't just inky pinky ponky and decided to find a place.
Yes.
That's very important for me. And it goes far beyond just an interview process, but in business in general. If you want to collaborate with a business, do your homework before you meet that person.
Absolutely.
Because again, it goes back to that having empathy, sympathy for that other person that you're connecting with.
It's amazing.
I love that. Are there some opportunities within the industry from a business perspective that you feel is untapped?
I think there's a lot.
That's a loaded question.
That's a loaded question.
For the end of this podcast.
I think, there's a lot that still can be done. We are all staying aligned with all the different new trends and stuff happening. I think the latest trends in aesthetics will always remain, all the latest technologies that just was launched, whether it's latest devices, but also stacking these devices, doing combination therapies, doing really signature and specific protocols per patient. No protocol looks the same. All of those things.
Almost like customizing for the canvas in front of you.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I do think there's stuff that we're tapping in right now, actually, and might not be skin as a whole, but I see a lot of change in marketing, especially for the aesthetic industry. And, we look at AI and ChatGPT. You can absolutely, and it comes now back to that one fear we were talking about, time. Saying we don't have time, so we can't overcome those hurdles to reach our goals. But now, I was speaking to someone the other day at one of the birthday parties for the children. He's a financial manager or something, and he did his audit reports that usually takes him 2 weeks within a day.
No
through
way.
ChatGPT. So where's your time now?
Yes.
Okay? So now, just by think of everything that we can do in the business as an aesthetic business owner, writing campaigns for the year usually took you a month. Now you can dish that out in a day. You literally just prompt ChatGPT, put in your stuff, and a lot of new programs are now implemented in Chat. You've got Canva in there now. You've got so many different things that's incorporated in it. So I think we're going to have a lot more free time on our hands very soon. And there's already a lot of people that's pursuing it a lot. But as people are going to get more adapted and used to the change with AI and ChatGPT, we're going to have a lot more new time on our hands. And with that, new innovations will come
Absolutely. I think I'm super excited to see where the industry goes. And obviously, we're all taking a more holistic approach now in the industry. It's not only about aesthetically how I look, but it's like actually becoming that healthy version. And I think that's already a good step, because as we're adapting to that change of actually changing who we are from the inside out, we'll be so much more acceptant to the changes that are actually happening, not only within the industry, but I think within the technology as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, treating it holistically from the inside out is absolutely the new approach.
Yes.
The way forward.
We all obviously want to be healthy. And we had this conversation the other day where we said body treatments are not as big anymore, because body treatments were really based on almost a quick fix. I want to treat my cellulite, but now we go more into functional medicine, because we want to be healthy as a whole, holistically. And we had this conversation in episode 1 where we said we need to, once again, our own cup needs to be filled as well. We need to be healthy as well, because otherwise how are we going to perform? Then if I don't take care of myself, then there's no one to delegate anything to, because the main person is not with us, has left the building. So how do you prevent burnout and just being overcome with stress and anxiety, considering everything that you have on your plate?
So there's so many ways that you can target this to prevent the burnout and stress. And I think, again, it's very much to do with the person dealing with that kind of stress. Everybody is going to deal with it differently. For me personally, I really love just coming home. My home is my space, and my kids are there. And when my husband is home, it's ideal. So that is really that way for me to just unwind, but take into consideration it's a different setup. But I do know that there's a lot of people that has a similar setup with the one spouse traveling a lot, or maybe even away for a year or two. So without coming home. So I do think that's a big thing for me. I also love working out. I think moving your body and just getting all of that happening on a daily basis, at least, even if it's a walk. Even if it's a walk, walking the dog, or anything like that, or playing netball with the kids. I was doing that. I think it was so much fun. I had to relive my back in the day. But so I think that's a very big thing. And one other thing, which is a very personal journey of myself, end of last year, I had hernia complications. So I had a double hernia operation, and then a revision surgery after that, all in the space of 6 weeks, and going under general anesthesia twice. And it really had a massive knock on my body. I was never ready for it. I didn't know the extent of what it's going to do or how I'm going to respond to it. And in the beginning of the year, of last year, I started working out a lot, doing everything just for that whole thing of becoming healthy, having a healthier mindset, feeling better about yourself. If you feel better about yourself, you can treat the people better around you. And with all the gymming and exercises, that's where the hernias then happened, because I already had the weak section of the diastasis recti. Surgeries happened. But then I started taking a supplement called Better Gut, and it's very much concentrated on it's a pre and a postbiotic for your gut, and it really just prepared my system, I believe, as to what I went into. I think if I wasn't on that, it would have been a much different journey. But my skin cleared. I had a permanent rash on my forehead happening. Never mind what I was using, never mind. And I mean, I'm right there in the middle of the best stuff. So I was
you have all the guns.
And it just didn't work. But the moment I sorted out my gut, and I'm also not a dairy person, this whole situation cleared. And so I'm totally sold on that. But then going into the next year, keeping on with the things like pre and postbiotic, omegas, your magnesium, making sure that you are on that internal health support on a natural basis. It's nothing crazy, but we have to now rely on being healthier from the inside. It's no longer just treating from the outside or a quick walk, 10-minute walk. It's no longer that. There's so many different avenues that will contribute to a healthier you at the end of the day.
Yes. I love that so much, Lourette. Thank you so much for joining us today. I would like you to share a bit on your podcast, that what you kind of discuss, and also where our lovely viewers can actually follow you and see all about you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was an absolute blast.
I think we need a pod.
I'm here for it. I can sit here the whole day.
I really want to do like a clinical pod as well.
Oh, yes.
Actually just
I'd love that.
Skin.
Yes, I would love that.
Guys, keep an eye out for that too as well. But yes, I think if you could share a little bit, you also mentioned that you've started a podcast, which we're all super excited about. So maybe just where we can find you, and like Sunay just said.
Yeah, sure. So my podcast is called Lasers and Leaders with Lourette du Toit. So it's all about business and clinical. because that's what I want to
know.
That's my language, people. And then it's available on Spotify and Apple. And then I'm all over Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. It's Dermology_Africa for my business, and then Dermology_ with the area, Ballito, Paul, Sandton, and Cape Town, and Groenkloof.
Okay.
And and on Threads, but it's all the same handles. And then in my personal capacity is Lourette Laser and Skin. And then if you have a little bit of dry humor like myself and you like the bush, it's Safari One.
I think that's one of my favorites.
Love it.
Yes. Thank you so much, Lourette. We have a tradition on our podcast where the previous guest leaves a question for the next one without knowing who that new guest will be. Okay. So the question we have for you today is, if you could pinpoint a moment in your life where you learned something, or how can I say, like you wouldn't have learned that lesson if you didn't go through it, what would you say really stood out for you?
Did they know who I am? No. So there's actually, if you asked me in the beginning of the year, I would have told you something else. But I actually recently learned a very, very, very valuable lesson. And in February, I turned 38.
Happy belated birthday.
And I don't know what it is, but as you're creeping closer to 40, you can be how stable in your personal life, I don't care what you say, but it becomes daunting. Yeah. And I was just starting to reflect, oh my goodness, where did the years go? I've been doing this now for almost 15 years in the same company. And just started reflecting, what's happened over these years, our dreams and goals and smashing. I was looking back in COVID, and there was a time where I was winning a few awards for clinic manager, and that was my thing. I was thriving. I was like, I always wanted to be called clinic manager. That was my thing. And then I started winning awards for it. And then in February this year, when I hit 38, I was like, okay, no, what now?
What is next?
5 years ago, you were in your thrilled, and I was just ecstatic and ignited. But now I'm like, what now? Yes. Where's what's happening in 40? Is this it now? And I really went into a state of where I wasn't posting on social media. I didn't want to show up. I think it all just tied in as well with the health complications from November. And, I had body changes. You have body dysmorphia. You look at yourself in the mirror. You don't recognize the person. You see the scars on the tummy, which is huge. And, people comment about it. I do put myself out there.
You opened yourself.
And I know social media, maybe that's also something we can talk about, how to ditch the nasty keyboard warriors. Yes. But I was just thinking, who am I now? Because I'm different. And it was very difficult for me just to come back from that. What I did was I started doing courses. So I went knee deep into online courses. And
listen, I love that. I am a big self-improvement fan. But it really consumes you.
It consumes
you. You guys are spiraling.
But where I started is clinical edu.
Really?
The
on the
educational page.
That is great. We like that.
But this one, you can ask Sarah. I went through, and every time there's a glitch, I'm like, Sarah, I can't access this. And then she fixes it immediately, and then I go again. So I know everything about Charlene DeHaven at this moment.
I think she'll be very proud.
We'll get her on for you, don't worry.
But I've gone through that whole thing for a clinical purpose. Yeah. But because I feel like, I was channeling so much into laser and light that I didn't want to lose touch on the rest.
I love that.
And that's where, we got Skin Pen on board. We did all of these other things, and I channeled into is Clinical's educational portal. Then the next thing was marketing courses. The next thing was business courses. You can ask my team, I've been implementing things after each other.
I love
and
that.
Structures are in place. So from that sort of downfall of I can't recognize myself, I don't know who this person is, and don't know where I'm going to go from here, by giving myself those extra skills and by delving into things to the detail and then remember moving with intention.
Yes.
The moment you have that skill, you have to implement.
Execution.
I always say to them, the speed of implementation is what has to happen. It's all great and say, hey, here's a new tool, we should do it. Yes, we should. And then it
just falls.
So by identifying a new system, set it in place and implement it. It's so powerful. And this is all that's been happening these last February, March and April.
That's amazing.
And it's something that's created that new fire in me and that new visions and goals and dreams that we're busy working on and creating.
Yes.
So
just getting back your momentum.
Absolutely.
We can't wait for your book that you're going to read.
Yes.
Yes. So everyone can know this. No, I think it's been amazing. Thank you so much for being on, Lourette. I think it was super valuable for both of us, but also our viewers. And we look forward then to having a part 2 with you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Remember to find all Lourette's details in the description box below, and then we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.